I do believe that Hawaiian energy and other populations, like I do see like and believe that we will become more community centric,
Oh,
that people will live in places and spaces with similar ideologies and beliefs and more supporting, back in, you know, when we grew up, it was come home when the street lights come on or when the sun goes down and all the neighbors watched out for you. And I feel for, you have a young son. I have like,
yeah.
8-year-old granddaughter and, there's so much fear. And my wish is that we can come back to a community centric way of living and being for our elders, for our children, so that, we can have more of that sense of, I think our generation, I've been seeing a lot of, we grew up, we shouldn't, all of us should be dead, right? Like we grew up in a world where we didn't have a cell phone, where we were out
Bicycle
in the,
helmets,
right? We didn't have
seatbelts.
helmets, we didn't have seatbelts, like we had cribs that we could have, all the things. But we're resilient. We didn't get jobs by, writing an AI, resume. We had to research at the library and we were,
Oh gosh,
and
those
so I
days are
think
so hard.
right now I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do this whole like research article in minutes because
Yes.
I can go where it would have taken me hours. I love my Encyclopedia Britannica, but I think this generation, I think it is our job to support and help steward. We're the last generation that didn't have technology, didn't have cell phones growing up. And so, but each person has a part, no matter whether you're 20 something, 30 something,
Yeah.
70 something, like we each bring something to this whole idea of what is the I within the we, what part do you want to play? Co-ops, CBOs,
Yeah.
securities in your social security is your neighborhood,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
right? That is, that's, as you said, and I love that format, so I think, yes, it's scary when things that we relied on and assumed would be there always break down, but what is it making the way for something better? And if we don't choose to have a voice in it, we're going to just be
Yeah.
pushed along by it.
It's really, one of the, what you just said, it's really important to realize like those systems that maybe you had relied on, or those systems that, you had the privilege of having them. You have to remember that even in the United States, not everybody had those protections and privileges. And so,
Right.
just because those systems may not no longer be available to you, they weren't available to a lot of us. And so don't feel like it's just being taken from you. There's something new
Exactly.
is coming through.
Exactly. And that is a big hope of mine because the we needs to be we of every
Yeah.
size, shape, color, background. That is the we, the fabric of who we are.
Yeah.
And, you know, no matter how you identify, no matter what your background is, we are collective. And that is what Aquarius energy is all about. No one is left out. No
No.
one is less than. That's why we move away from Leo, which is celebrity status, guru status. There's
Mhm.
benefits of Leo for sure, and we don't want to lose the gifts, but we really have a huge opportunity to create, you know, I remember the song. I remember playing parachute games to, um, you know, the Aquarius. What's the Aquarius song? I just lost
Age of
it.
Aquarius.
Age of Aquarius. And I can literally picture myself in sixth grade on the playground listening to this. I don't know why my teacher used that song, but I do believe that, and I'm hopeful. I don't know what it's going to look like. I know I was thinking the other day, like the housing market, when my granddaughter goes to buy a home, or will she
Oh,
even buy a home?
well, there's
Will she
also
even own?
the great wealth transfer supposedly happening right now too, but
Yeah, which is
that's no, it's
that's
going.
not true. In fact, I was reading an article about that yesterday. Like that's it, it's only, 83% of it or something is going to the people who already live in that
Well,
category,
yeah.
are already wealthy. So how do we, and we have a lot of very wonderful philanthropic people, but the systems and structures get to break down and they get to look like something new. And we as change makers get to be a part of it in our own way. And even if it's just in your own home or your own community,
Yes.
you don't have to be, out on stage, but you get to, and that's why, the work you do is so powerful, Leslie, is helping people to find their leadership there
Yeah.
where they live in that place.
Yeah.
My job is to help you navigate it and know what's coming. And if you're building a business around it, what does that look like in this age? How are we messaging? How are we talking to people? I look at the social media platforms, that's all going to shift and change.
Oh, it's already.
And it's already, right? What will Meta do
Yeah.
with Instagram, which is a Leo ruled
Very Leo.
platform?
I know
That,
even
that,
my social media strategy has changed. Like like especially with the book launch, I was like, oh, I have to find new followers and grow my visibility and da da da. And I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore because I want to create the content that I want to create and I want to create the content that my users love. And so I'm just going to create content for them. And if other people want to come for the ride, great. But all of these like viral like hacks and all this stuff, I don't have time for that.
and people see through that.
Yeah.
That's the gift, the building off of the Pisces North Node, right? We've learned to trust our intuition, our knowing, and we can see through the false
Totally.
narratives that are out there,
When the
which is a
vibe is
huge
just
gift.
off. You're like,
It is. You're like, I see it. Like I see it in copy, and I've trained like a lot of people in my world. They'll send me things. I'm like, oh my God, can you believe people are still writing like this? Can you believe people are still using calls to action like this? Like, yes, because people will get stuck in the old way because that's what they learned, and they're uncomfortable with change. You and I are early adopters,
yeah,
as with our Aquarian energy,
we're blazing
we're
the
typically
trail.
ahead of the curve. One of my friends and mentors, she's like, if you want to know where things are headed, just follow Sheri.
Yeah.
I feel like
We're
I'm
always like,
finally catching up.
we're like 5 to 20 years ahead of time. And then people are like, oh, I was like, we've been doing this the whole time. You finally just caught up. Didn't you see that we were over here already? And they're like, oh, I see that in all of like the industries that I like run in. It's just like, we're just too ahead of our time. And we just have to appreciate that we're both change makers and trailblazers.
Yes. And that's,
So,
that can be challenging when you're in that role. If you feel that way, as you're listening here, like the only, it's like trust the process and just keep doing you. Cause every time I've tried to do it someone else's
oh,
way,
yeah.
it just doesn't work. That's been the huge gift of the astrology.
Yeah.
And I say what I do when I support clients one on one, and I know you do this as well, as it's just giving people clarity and confidence
Yeah.
because your
Validating.
chart, it's validation, it's like they already know, they come with a question and there's a knowing and they just need the validation. But so that's at the individual level, but then collectively, we can start to know what's coming. So what can you gain from this? Like just watching, listening. Where's your place? Where do you want to speak up? Where do you want to put in your 10 cents in the
Yeah.
matter in a way that's going to be, you know, positive,
Yeah.
supportive, that's going to move things forward and that's going to say no, hard no to
Exactly.
things that aren't going to land. That's where the friction will come in because people in power don't give up power easily,
No.
period. And you're watching it play out every day right now. And when the old structures need to break down, Pluto's going to make it happen. The North Node's going to accelerate it.
Yes. And so, if you're listening now, take a look at your natal chart. Look at where Aquarius, starting at 29 degrees of Aquarius, because the nodes go in reverse, it's going to cross from Pisces to Aquarius. It's going to hit 29 degrees of Aquarius first and work its way to the beginning of Aquarius. Look at that area of your chart. Look at what houses it occupies. Look at what you have in fixed signs, like different planets you might have that's going to be impacted by these nodes nodes, and feel into what you are here to accelerate at this time, especially like when it comes to these Aquarian ideals. I have like my sun and Jupiter at those late degrees of Aquarius. It's like right when the book is happening. So I have to trust that this is gonna it's gonna work the way it's supposed to.
It will. It absolutely will. And I think that's, we each have our role, our placement, where it's impacting us. And, so even if your node is something different, which typically it will be, there's still an impact happening in your chart. And so just being curious, like what is going on in that Aquarius area of your chart? What is
Yes.
it that you are meant to be disrupting, meant to be part of? And so you can lean into that leadership, that change maker. And what I appreciate and I love about the work you're doing is that you redefining leadership in a
Yeah.
different way, in my opinion. And I feel like, you know, having grown up business wise in corporate myself, all those years of that corporate structure, and I was always the rebel rouser. I was always the one because, my chart, it floats between, it hit that Aquarius
The
energy right at my
midheaven.
career, at my
Yeah.
midheaven. Pluto's sitting on my midheaven right now. So
Hey.
fun. Yay, yay, or not. Um, but, I always was concerned about, how is it going to work for everyone,
Yeah.
And so change happens, some fast, some slow, but the question is it's here, it's happening, and how do you want to lead? How do you want to prepare yourself? And I think leaning into what you've learned in the past year and a half in that Pisces North Node energy, what
Yeah.
feels different? I really see it all the time in conversations with leaders is you can see the shift in their like I was talking to someone this morning. It's like I just know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I
Yeah.
just know this is the way. Now it's how do you position yourself? What communities, what groups? And I tell people, this is the age of groups and communities and connection, the I within the we. It doesn't mean you have to build your own.
Yeah.
It's where are you putting your energy? What is that feeling of community? Even if you're running a one-to-one container, if you're an entrepreneur, you have a business, you can still make someone feel like they're part of your
Yes.
community.
When it's like who's in your Rolodex, and like even for people who want to make impact and like, movement makers and world shakers and world builders, you don't have to do it on your own. You can be a contributing member to like a movement that's already happening. And so this is everybody's call to find their people, find where they belong. And I want to add this one final thought before we close up. It's that we're at the tail end of Cancer season. We're in the midst of a Mercury retrograde in Cancer that is really helping us create this emotional security, looking at how our past, insecurities have formed these habits that we're all supposed to break free from. But while most people don't put Cancer and Aquarius together, to me, they meet at this place of belonging. They both
Absolutely.
want belonging. And so, this is our call to find our people, to make repairs, to make amends with people that we want to reconnect with, and to find our own sense of emotional security so that we can create the belonging within ourselves.
I absolutely 100%. 100%. I think that filter is what I was on a call yesterday and we were looking at Q3, Q4 goals and, under a Cancer new moon. And I was like, the call in this moment astrologically is to tune in to what do you value? How does this impact your home, your family, your community, you know, and trust that to lead versus the numbers
Yeah.
versus what you believe you're meant to do. But I think that's if you felt like, and I know for a lot of change makers, your community starts to shift and you start to feel like you're on an island. I know I have felt that way a bit. But I know it's making space so that I can step into that next iteration with a clear my own clear inner guidance of who those people are and what those movements are and what I know what my mission is, but with whom and where
Yeah.
is always I want to be open to possible. And I that's what like when I think about Aquarius energy, it's just that energy of possibility,
Yeah.
as an air energy, like that mental energy, but it's still fixed, right? It's still giving us some groundedness. And so I feel as much as I'm concerned and I do believe a lot of people will be impacted
Yeah.
and,
They
there's going to
are
be
already.
issues and people already are, but I'm hopeful because I know what Aquarius can bring in terms
Yeah.
of possibility and opportunity. And with all that, and especially like we need to talk about this part, like the medical, you know,
Oh,
the all of the fast moving opportunities for health and well-being so that we
yeah.
can participate in more with others. So I'm hopeful and eyes wide open, and I'll keep writing about it, talking about it, and, guiding my people as I know you will.
Well, thank you so much, Sheri, for joining me today. How can my listeners connect with you and find you?
I think the best place to connect with me where I am a little mini community of sorts would be on Substack. So it's just Sheri Moise on Substack, but the publication is Data Over Drama. So that's where I share, relevant articles and posts of what's going on. And if you're an entrepreneur who wants like guidance through these cycles, then the paid tier will allow for that as well.
Wonderful. I'll have all of those links in the description. So definitely follow Sheri. Sheri has just so much insight, especially when you're planning your launches and timing. She's your go-to person. So thank you for joining me and sharing your wisdom with the lunar nodes moving into Aquarius and Leo. I learned so much from you as usual, Sheri.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited for everyone. I got a little preview of your book, and I'm excited for everyone. And I'm excited to read the whole thing, and looking forward to it being out in the world and supporting all these amazing humans that are our leaders and change makers in this new era.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. We will see you in just a bit. Bye for now. So, thank you again. If this episode, if this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.